Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 52 of the Downunder The Ring podcast. I'm your host, the Warship, and I'm joined, as always, by only one other part of the trio that exists now, the king of trios, Phid McAwesome. Yes, that's right. I acknowledge the tribal chief of guessing the Wrestlemania gimmick. Phid, how you going?
That is a clickbait question and lazy reporting.
Oh, okay. Then how did you feel about Wrestlemania?
That is a clickbait question and lazy reporting, and you need to do better.
Bollocks. Maybe we should just get Chris Van Vliet to do it, because I'm sure he'd get an answer, right?
Oh, 100%.
Okay, that's good. Welcome, guys.
I can't even keep the gimmick going when it comes to CVV, because not only is he really good at his job, but he's also a ridiculously unhealthy, handsome man as well.
Unhealthily handsome. Absolutely the case. And not just that, but like one of those genuinely awesome people too. Like every time the podcast comes up in my feed, I'm like, oh, it's one of those kind of things, you know, like it's like a beautiful, handsome newborn puppy who tells me all about the wrestling every single week. But regardless, enough Chris Van Vliet flagellation.
No, who wants to hear from some less handsome men about wrestling?
Well, Betson's not here, to be fair. So we've got us. So it's actually not too bad. Actually, we'll acknowledge also my wonderful Cody Rhodes hair. I figured since he's dead now forever, I might as well take the hair. So we've got that going for us as well. Today, we're going to talk to you about the post-WrestleMania Raw, the SmackDown that followed it, and because it was on today, let's touch base a tiny little bit on this week's Raw. We've got a lot of stuff, a couple of returns, which for me, it was really strange that we waited until now to do them. I am of the opinion that you could make a huge impact if you have a return at WrestleMania. That being said, there's also the question, I don't know how much you guys covered because I have been super busy. That's why I couldn't be on the podcast.
Hey, look, if we need to go over anything to give your opinions on it again, I'm more than happy to, because there's a couple of things that I would love to get your opinions on from
Okay, look, I'm good. We can do that real quickly just to begin with. Okay, because I got one thing I have to say. Why the fuck did you do the Becky Lynch turn when you did?
I said this on the last episode, is I feel like they wasted an entire spot on WrestleMania. They screwed over Bayley, and the entire thing was just wasted just to bring back Becky. This is my booking of how I would have done it, is I would have had Charlotte win against Tiffany Stratton. Not because I want Charlotte to win, but I think the booking would have made more sense that you then have Becky return on Raw.
That just makes me sad. It just makes me very sad. And I agree with you, but I can't get behind it.
Look, do you know the upside of doing that is you now have a spot on the card by doing that to have a tables, ladders, and chairs match for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships.
Yeah, and look, that's huge too. That absolutely, because it was kind of a banger. Like, let's be fair, we'll get to that later, but it was kind of excellent. So, yeah, for me, that made no sense, and I don't like the way that went down at all. I'm not as upset with the finish of night 2 as I was when I watched it, because I've watched it since, and it is what it is.
Okay, interesting. I haven't gone back and re-watched it, so I'd love to get your TLDR review of both nights. So what do you think of night 1?
Night 1 was a worse night with a better main event.
Yep.
And night 2 was a better night with a worse main event.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of the situation, is that, yes, they both had their pros and cons. It's just a shame that the pros and cons really fell to the main event. Like when it comes to the undercard of night 1, it was kind of poo. Like it just didn't hit the way it should have hit. And I think we all know that. I think that we all have come to terms with that. That being said, night 2 started with a banger and just kind of kept going. Sorry, other way around. Wait. No, that's right. Started with a banger and just kept going all the way until the end.
Yeah.
And then the end started okay.
Here's what I thought. I thought the start of that main event was intentionally slow.
Yeah.
With Cena being a heel, being an old school guy, slowing it down, pissing off the crowd. And then I was expecting it to be a case that Cody starts getting some offense and speeds it back up again, blah, blah, blah. But that's not the case. That is not what we got at all. It was that match never felt like it picked up enough steam and Cody never felt like a threat at all during that entire thing.
No, there was never a point where I thought it was going to lose.
What little energy there was in that room was sucked out completely by Travis Scott.
Travis Scott is an horrible, horrible thing. All of it. The only positive about WrestleMania being over is now I don't have to hear Fiend.
Hey, before we get onto the Raw and SmackDown post-Mania, there is one comment in TikTok chat I just want to acknowledge is a forgotten donut has said, with the bleached hair and beard, I suddenly believe in the Warship.
Wait.
Love it.
Good. Yes, thank you very much. Yes, for those audio listeners, love you to death. For those not watching, I have got very, very, very white blonde hair right now. And the big beard is kind of growing back in, which is lovely. But let us not digress on this, and let's move on from how amazingly attractive I am and move on to the next part of all this. I know, look, it's going to be difficult, but let's move on because... Really, that's my TLDR when it comes to Mania. The issue is that WrestleMania 40 was such an unequivocal banger, almost end to end, right?
Almost.
So
if we ignore the Usos,
if you ignore the Usos, but it was a lot better, and I think that we have been spoiled over the last couple of years with the Roman Reigns to Cody build and all of the investment over the course of those 2 years.
Yeah, now Betson had a really good point earlier in the week. Mm-hmm. He was saying, look, WrestleMania 40 was Endgame.
Yes.
It was always going to be hard to follow up Endgame.
Well, now you've got Eternals.
However, I was just going to say, I don't feel like what we got next was Spider-Man.
No, it was not.
What we got next was Eternals.
Yeah. And Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
It just wasn't where it needed to be. And that's the thing, is that everyone was quick to say, oh, well, Hunter, go get fucked. But what is he going to do? Yeah. Like, how were you going to do that? You've got the time, but I'm sure that the Cena deal came together, not last minute, but they haven't had a year to put this in place. Correct. Whereas for the other angles over the last couple of years, you've had a couple of years to put that shit in place. Yeah. So now we're in a situation where, it's a much shorter build. And now this is actually a little bit of the disease of the Attitude Era. We got to a point in the Attitude Era where we were getting title changes every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And because of that, you lost investment in the championships. They became less important.
I would even say the same during the Super Cena era.
Yeah. The, what's that called? The Ruthless Aggression era, right? Yeah. So, and the Golden's older. But yeah, I agree with you entirely. Like the title was going hot potato, hot potato, hot potato, hot potato, and you lose investment. So now you've had a situation where Cody has dethroned this megalodon of a championship reign, and you're in a situation now where Cody's had it for a year. But man, we were waiting for him to drop that belt as early as AJ Styles.
Yeah,
because once you took that away, you lose the investment.
Correct.
So now we're in a situation where he's lost it a year later. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't care anymore.
I almost feel like they needed to, like you've had that, like you said, this mammoth title run, which I think was a great run. that needed to happen to make that title feel important again.
Yeah.
But then you need to get the balance right after that and go, okay, we don't want a hot potato it per se, but you do. I think we needed a couple of title changes in the calendar year to make it feel achievable again.
Yes. Yeah. There needed
And
to be
now,
moments
so
where you
far,
could feel like
all we've
it.
had is the last generation's top guy hold it for 3+ years.
Yeah.
This generation's top guy hold it for 12 months. And
Yeah.
now we've got the previous generation's title holder who's probably going to hold it until the end of this calendar year.
Yes, and that's the thing is that like there is a big chance that Cena loses the belt before that, but I also don't think he will. I think that we're going to be in a situation where, like, Orton is a lovely red herring, but Orton's not beating him for the belt now.
No.
Unless they, again, hot potato, in which case that would bring Orton up to almost Cena's record, which then makes a compelling ending. I don't think that's going to happen. Let me just put that out there. But that makes for a compelling ending. You also have this other issue at the same time, and that issue is simple. It's that Gunther has had a belt in that company pretty much the whole time he's been there. And he was positioned to be that again with the big belt, but then he lost it too. So now none of the belts feel special. None of the belts feel important in the way that they should, because I know everyone's about the Jey Uso thing. I don't have that in me quite yet. So I don't think he'll drop the belt, but there's also a chance.
I think Jay holds the title during Backlash.
Yeah.
I think he loses it after that. So I don't think it's going to be so much a hot potato passing like transitional champion, but I think he's a transitional champ, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. I don't see him holding it very much beyond where he is, because he is a catchphrase. Yeah. He can wrestle, don't get me wrong, he's got the things.
I did hear a very compelling argument the other day, though, which was, does Trick Williams defeat Joe Hendry for the TNA Championship, and then Joe Hendry, in revenge, go and get the World Heavyweight Championship from WWE?
Yeah, look, that's something that is interesting, but I don't buy it.
Yeah.
Like, it's an interesting concept. It is compelling,
I like it,
but I doubt it. Yeah. And it's only because of their presentation of Joe Hendry versus Randy Orton. Yeah.
I said this as well already this week. I don't think Joe Hendry has been harmed at all. But if anything, only good came out of that match.
Yes.
For Joe Hendry. Randy got a fun moment. The way that Joe Hendry was beaten as well is it wasn't so much squash as much he was caught slipping.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the issue.
At the wrong time.
Yeah, it's not the fact that he is not as good. It's the fact that he looks a little silly now. Yeah. So I don't see him as that kind of threat to show up and win the belt.
Yeah.
That being said, who knows? So yeah, and that's the thing is that look.
Okay, here's a question for you: is it that the belt doesn't feel as important, or is it that Jey Uso doesn't feel like an authentic champion to you? Is that the actual problem?
I think that my problem with him is I don't think that he's transitioned as much as they think he has from a tag team wrestler to a singles wrestler. Yeah. And I think that he proved that at last year's WrestleMania.
And then again this year.
And then again this year, because that wasn't what it needed to be match-wise.
Correct. 100% agree. 100% agree.
Yeah. It is what it is, but I think that we're away from it.
The problem isn't so much the championship as it is the champion.
Yeah, because Seth did elevate the belt. Gunther did elevate the belt. Yeah. They both did bring something to it. I feel a quick round off. I feel like if LA Knight won the belt, it would lower the value of it.
Yep.
I think that if Joe Hendry won the belt, it would lower the belt of it too. Yeah. Just because I feel like the only way right now that you could elevate it is either having Seth Rollins win it back or have someone like Drew win it.
Or There's another case that I'd like
which
to
we'll get to later or now.
No. I'll come to this one right now. Is put that belt on the tribal chief.
Yeah, okay. Because he need elevating that belt would be a good thing, especially with the things that we've seen on Raw happening. Because then or even Punk, because then you could take that and create like this reverse heel investment. Because usually when a heel is in power, like we'll discuss shortly, there's this vacuum where they become champion and all the faces chase them. If you did it in reverse and you had the heel just constantly almost win but then lose because the faces got one over until such time as it changes over, that would work as well. But let's get on to everything. So obviously you guys talked about the end of WrestleMania with the unthinkable happening and Seth Rollins aligning himself with the wise man, Paul Heyman. But then to bury the lead, because we'll start with the big one, I guess, on Raw, there was a lot of cackling and bullshit last week because that's what Seth does. And Paul and then Roman came out and Punk came out and everyone was having a big old at each other until a fight began, which was promptly ended by the former Intercontinental Champion, Bron Breakker, who aligned himself also, which we've heard in rumor for a while, that Paul Heyman wanted Bron to be the next Paul Heyman guy.
He has talked on interviews about how he thinks he's the future of the business.
Yeah. So he obviously wants to work with him. Also, I've got to say, I'm jumping back and forth here, but that shot on Raw this week was so hard. With Bron coming out with Heyman behind him. Holy shit, that was awesome. But to go back, Bron Breakker aligns himself with Seth Rollins. They become the new dangerous alliance, but it's probably more honestly like Evolution, like Evolution 2, because that is how it feels based on this week's promo. But for last week, that was the way that they closed the show off. Bron Breakker being elevated to that main event spot, whilst also Seth establishing himself as this. It's almost, as much as it's Evolution 2, it's almost maybe the Monday Night Messiah 2 as well. Yeah. Because there's a lot of that going on. Seth being a fuckwit, going, flapping his wings, all that kind of bullshit, whilst everyone else does their thing.
I'm really hoping they drop the freaking from his name in this era.
Yeah, I'm done with that personally as well. But he's still getting them to sing the song. He hasn't quite hit that turn yet. I think this week on Raw might have begun that properly because he was kind of tweening for a bit. I think he'll struggle to tween after the offense of this week's Raw. But last week's Raw, we did see a few call-ups as well last week.
Look, and a lot of those call-ups were great. We've been going on for at least a year now about how strong that women's division in NXT is. What I will say about these call-ups, especially the NXT women, has been it feels different from 10 or so years ago. Remember when Paige was first called up?
Yeah.
It felt like an absolute. She's here now. We will not see her on NXT ever again.
Yeah,
and that used to be how it used to be.
It was like a goodbye. They would do a goodbye on NXT and then they'd never go there again.
Yeah. Now there's this soft launch sort of period, right, where we've had, Stephanie Vaquer and who's the Japanese girl?
Julia.
Julia. Both turn up, as well as Roxy, who she's sort of been coming and going for a while now. And they're, on both brands at the same time. I'm not sure if I like that because I feel like it's a bit convoluted with storylines where you've got storylines sort of bleeding into each show.
Yeah.
I personally I would rather have someone have a hard launch on the main roster and you're now there.
Yeah, no, look, I agree with you too. It kind of establishes them more. Like with Bron, obviously they had a soft launch as well. It lasted like a week and a half though. Like he had that back and forth with Baron Corbin until they lost the belts. Yeah, and that was it. So there was a little bit of a gimmick there, but then it was really quickly ended. And you think about the rest. You think about your Sami Zayns, your Kevin Owens, your Shinsuke Nakamura's, your Finn Balor's, all these guys. They came in. That's it. Now we're on this show. We were there. Yes, Vince hates me because I'm too tall, too short, or too fat, but I'm here, and we're going to do this from here. So that's kind of what we expect. So this like back and forth stuff is interesting. That being said, I think this week really helped to solidify Perez.
Absolutely.
As a Raw person, I think we're going to see
100%. Like seeing her be a genuine threat against Rhea Ripley.
Yeah,
amazing. There was a star-making performance, I would actually say.
Yeah,
it's a shame we didn't get that match on a bigger stage. Like,
yeah,
I would have liked to have had that match last week.
Yeah,
while all the attention was on Raw last week. But in saying that, dope way to really make a name for yourself. Roxy really came across as a threat.
Yeah.
Which is amazing for a small person versus someone like Rhea.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would argue to a similar notion we had Vicaire as well that has really kind of established in the last couple of weeks a foothold.
Yeah.
As well. It doesn't feel the same for Julia because Julia's been interfering. So it doesn't quite feel the same at this point for Julia. That being said, awesome if that happens. I think that we're in a situation now, though, where the big test will be Backlash for the tag match to see how they go, and then we'll go from there. But the future's bright, I think, with where we're at with that right now.
Yeah. How do you feel about the Rhea and Io partnership?
I like it because Rhea needs it.
Yeah.
She needs humanity. Because she was getting to a point where she's like, I'm mad at everyone. I'm just coming out. And the audience have turned significantly, not entirely, but significantly on her because they're calling her Hulk Hogan. There's this immortal Rhea Ripley that can't be pinned. Yeah. So this helps her. And it also lends itself.
I said it a few weeks ago, remember, she's showing some vulnerability now, which I think is building her character on another layer to her character that she's spent the last 2 to 3 years being this monster female on the roster. Now we're starting to see some layers to her, which is really dope.
Yeah, and honestly, like it really does lend to the inevitable Rhea Ripley heel turn, which is coming. Yeah. Like, we're going to get this Io and Rhea getting close and close and close and friendly. And then she's going to be like, no, actually, face, I would like my belt back. And then we'll see that. And Io is getting them brownie points because she's being cute and she's overcoming and persevering and doing all the things that as a champion, as a face champion, you want to believe in. You want to get around so that when she's betrayed, it will hit hard. Yeah. And then we'll move on from there. But, I think that it's good. I think we're in a good place when it comes to that. And speaking, let me see if this is good. Ready? Let me try this one out. Speaking of bloody a good place, can we do this? Can we do this? What about old mate Alistair Black? Hey? What about
original music? He's got his candles back.
The candles are back. The music's there. Man, I was so happy, honestly. But
I don't know if you saw our group chat.
Probably not. I just ignore it. I don't talk to you guys. You fucking.
When I say the group chat, the big group chat.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
So there's a really interesting conversation in there today. A mate of ours, Matt Waterworth, Matty Mouse, he was actually raised a really good point, which is a lot of people currently talk smack about Tony Khan and AEW destroying everyone's favorite wrestlers from WWE.
Yeah.
I would argue, and this is a discussion that we actually had in there, was AEW has done so much good for these people like Alistair Black, who he was able to go away and build upon his character. And I would say when he's given some time to be on the mic and talk and all that sort of thing, he's going to be better than ever. what we're getting at the moment is a combination of AEW Malachi Black and NXT Aleister Black.
Unfortunately, there's one caveat to that, and that's that the Miz shouldn't be allowed to take the Black Mass, because that was a huge misstep.
Yeah.
Like, thankfully, the camera cut at the right time and the right moment for it, but he whiffed that so hard.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for the return that was the way that we copped it, because I see a big future here, huge future for Aleister Black.
And further to the returns coming and AEW doing actually good for these people is Miro / Rusev.
The Redeemer Rusev.
Well, last week I wasn't a big fan of the return. The way he returned, I felt was a bit strange.
Yeah, it was weird. Why did he beat up?
Why have we got it happening during a tag team situation? All that sort of thing. If we're not going to have him involved in the tag team division, which he clearly isn't.
And also, why did he beat up like lower level guys?
Yeah.
Weird.
Right? So that part was weird. But the promo today was brilliant. That was a brilliant promo. And the Rusev we're getting is the Redeemer, Miro, essentially, but in
combination of Miro, the Redeemer, and Rusev crush. Yeah. And weirdly too, he really obviously drew a line in the sand that said, hey boys, Lana's not coming back.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I crush because I want to crush, not because someone tells me to crush.
Yeah. Well, he had that dope line in there, which was it? I fought for a woman who wasn't mine. I fought for a flag that wasn't mine, which I also... I know we don't do politics on here, but that was a brilliant way of separating him from Russia.
Yes, absolutely, because it stops it completely. And then you don't have the backlash that you may have got for having Rusev back.
Yeah.
So I think that works really well. And now we get Rusev, and I really kind of hope he just gets a chance to shine this time.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot to be said for how good he is.
And look how lean he is at the moment.
Like, he looks awesome.
Is looking so good.
I hope that his attitude has improved, because there's a lot of discourse about his attitude being the reason that he didn't get the pushes that he's wanted, and that when he doesn't, he takes his ball and goes home, and the stuff like that. So I really do hope that this time they've given him what he wants, to the point where he's going to be all in, pun. But yeah, I do sincerely hope that that's the case, because I've got a lot of time for him as a character.
Oh,
got a lot of time.
Absolutely. I loved it. And what was interesting on Raw last week is Raw last week only had 3 matches.
Yeah.
None of which were long. It was, and it felt to me like we're back to the wild Raw after Mania unpredictability. We may not have had the raucous crowds that we had in 10 years ago with the all that shit. We don't have that raucous shit, but we have got the unpredictability back of that Raw after Mania, where it really feels like a season starter, season reset.
I feel like a big part of that was obviously that it was Rusev Day.
Yep. Well, yes.
And so on Rusev Day, we do celebrate, and we do have big moments. So I'm really interested to see where it all goes now. Now, one thing that isn't either Raw nor SmackDown that I would like to speak on is the other person that needs a fucking push right now, because if you don't push him, he's going to snap your arms in half, and that's Karrion Kross. His promo that he gave post WrestleMania, and just in general.
How have they not capitalized on that this week?
I have no idea. That being said, it could be SmackDown. I really hope it is, because, man, I've heard reports that they're going to be pushing him in a big way, and it could start as early as this week. I would love to see that.
I'm going to call it a pipe bomb that he dropped on the post-Mania show.
Yeah.
Was the most interesting I have seen Karrion Kross since he's been on the main roster.
Yeah, honestly, everything he's done in recent weeks, all this like behind the camera kind of like weird
He's
almost
always
things,
been brilliant on social media.
but it's just getting better.
Yeah, his self-filmed stuff has always been brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm glad that somebody has seen that and gone, all right, let's give this dude a microphone, give him a live mic. This is one thing I do want to say to the marks as well. And I'm a mark as well, so I'm not being a dick to you guys, but the people out there that were like, oh, I don't think that was planned. That show is a pre-recorded show.
Yeah.
Like, that Raw After Mania show is a pre-recorded show that got the green light to go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely no way that wasn't like completely allowed.
Yeah.
I would love to see them now really take advantage of it, really, really put him in a spot that he should be in. And I'm not even mad that he pretty much stole my stable. I think that now is the right time to put Karrion Kross where he deserves to be. And
I don't think he needs a stable.
No, I don't think I say he's a monster if they put him the right way. Like, and also
having
smart.
Scarlett there is his evil little.
I've never thought he needed anything more than Scarlett. Like, Scarlett is literally all he's needed because she's like completely loyal. There's never a question about it. You're not like, oh, I can't wait for them to break up or whatever. And there's never going to be a promo where someone's like, oh, you're looking pretty good there, Scarlett. Like, that's never going to happen, ever.
No.
So it's such a good thing to have at ringside. You don't need anything more than that.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, push Karrion Kross to the moon. And if you don't push Karrion Kross, I don't care if you get your arms broken, because you should. Like this has been an illuminating couple of weeks. We've had a lot of interesting stuff happen, and it only sucks that we are post WrestleMania. It sucks that we didn't have any of this shit then, like in the build to that, and we're getting it now. I understand why. But yeah, it's frustrating, And honestly, to talk about Raw last week, Pat McAfee, Michael Cole, I thought that was good. Like, the way it was done was good. Good.
I thought it was good as well, but I was completely wrong on where I thought it was going. I genuinely thought they were writing Pat off to go and do College Game Day.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying here it's good. Yeah. Because it's not great, because I don't want to see Pat versus Gunther.
Correct.
That being said, he better murder everyone at ringside. Like,
you're talking Gunther here?
Yes. Like, I think I would be okay with it if he, like, takes out Cole, takes out Pat, takes out Jamie Noble, takes out Shane Helms, takes out a bunch of people just coming to stop him.
That big bloke who's the ring announcer.
Everyone, yes. Yeah, like destroy it all.
Yeah. Have
to be arrested and removed from the building. Yeah. Like, I'm okay with let him get tased. I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? Like because if you put him in a match and he just power bombs Pat McAfee and chops him a handful of times, you have lowered his stock.
Oh, look, I would have no problem with them power bombing Pat, giving him some chops, dropping a harsh pin on the guy, squash Pat in under 5 minutes, then go on a tear.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, that's fine. You want to do that? That's okay. But if the only thing you do is have Pat beat the shit out of so you can write him off, it's pointless.
Yeah.
That's not what Gunther needs after losing the belt.
No. And I 100%, I'm with you on that. Like, I think Gunther needs to look like the only way you make him look like a threat now that he's got no title is by doing something exactly like what you're booking right now, is have him, okay, the chains are off. I am just going to start killing.
Do we have a timeline on Kevin Owens' return?
No. Kevin Owens is out for the foreseeable future. From what I understand, it's also a touch and go whether he even ever returns.
Okay.
Which fucking sucks.
It does. I really hope that's not the case, because I was kind of hoping his timeline was much sooner.
Yeah.
By Backlash.
He's out for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. The only reason I say that is I'm trying to figure out how we get past Orton.
Yeah.
Because as we're starting to move now into talking about the main event scene and Cena and all of that kind of stuff. Quick tangent before we get into that, because it's less important. Logan Paul, unlikely to win.
Yep.
But if they're going to pull the trigger, it's probably going to be soon. So if they're going to put the belt on him, Jay could lose.
Okay.
And
do
I would
you
understand
put the belt on this guy? In all reality, do you put the belt on a guy who is literally about to potentially lose a whole ton of court cases?
That's the issue. Right now, he's kind of shot himself in the foot with all the Prime stuff. But
all the crypto zoo stuff that's about to blow up again.
Also, though, would you have Prime at ringside if you weren't invested in him, even regardless of that?
WWE absolutely would. Their Prime's paying big dollars.
Exactly.
I think they would definitely look at Prime and Logan Paul as two separate things.
Yeah, okay. I'm not sure how. I'm not sure where we go from here if he loses a big game match like this now. If he just goes away, I hope he doesn't, which is weird to say, but I don't hope that Logan goes away right now, because as terrible a person as he is, he has something with wrestling.
Oh, absolutely. Brilliant wrestler, brilliant character.
And I didn't hate the interaction he had with Jay this week.
Yeah.
So as much as I don't think it will happen, the way that they have been treating him makes it possible.
Yeah.
But that's a minor note on all of what we're talking about here. The thing that I would really like to sort of touch base on now is, what do we do with Cena from now onwards? Because as it stands, Cena versus Orton is my September match.
You reckon?
No. As it stands, that's what I would have said.
Yeah.
Was the match. Now that they're doing it now, I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
And I hope it's not Cody.
Interesting. Yeah, because I think eventually it will be Cody. Because he's their big white meat baby face.
It just feels like the most obvious thing.
Yeah.
And in a way that I will almost guarantee will have the fans turn completely on him.
Do you do that intentionally then? Because I've been putting some thought into this. Is we haven't seen Cody since Mania, and I was sort of thinking what would be interesting is Cody spending a good month away. Maybe he comes back the Raw after Backlash, and he's been away licking his wounds, and he's doubting himself. And this is where we start seeing Homelander-esque tendencies. And when he does eventually beat Cena, he does the one thing that he couldn't do at Mania, which is pick up that belt and thwack him over the head with it. And that's how he wins the title. And after that, because that's when the crowd sort of starts to turn on him, you do have him doing what I think he was trying to achieve in AEW and never got the chance to pull the trigger on or see the end of, is him acting like the good guy. I am the good guy. Why would you boo me? I am the good guy. While he is actually the bad guy.
Interesting. An interesting perspective. I have the only issue I have with it is that it feels almost exactly like what happened with Cena. Like, you have this like super ultra white meat baby face who then shows up and everyone's invested in him. They're all like, yay, he's going to win. Woo. And then turns.
Yeah.
Like, and it feels like the same thing. You know, like.
Well, that's where I would. I think the difference in my booking here is it's not an instant turn. It's I did what I had to do. I'm not a bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, because like the justification thing's the part that makes me feel it's similar because Cena, it's all about that selling his soul. You know, it's all about that like doing it because he wanted to take it all away from everyone. And, you know, he wants to leave wrestling, the thing that he loves, because he still does love it, but it's the people who are the worst. You know, like there's so many layers to his current presentation.
I have to ask you this question. As an actual pro wrestler, do you look at what Cena's saying and go, you know what? He's kind of right.
It's kind of fucking right. Yeah. Look, there's definitely that element to it. Like, and that's, see, wrestling is a masterpiece when that happens. And what I'm talking about is the best characters in wrestling are steeped in reality. So the best heels are heels who are justified. It's the same with anything, any form of media.
It's why Drew's so good at what he does.
Because he's right.
Drew McIntyre never tells a lie.
No, he's right. He's correct in what he's saying. Like, and that's the thing is that the best heels make you question yourself, make you say, well, am I booing them because, you know, I have to, or is it because they're telling me to, or is it because I agree with them? And the reality is that, yeah, that's true, but I don't want it to be true because it makes me exposes ugly parts of my own self that I'm not prepared to face.
Well, even I think that also makes a good face as well as a heel, right? That was what took CM Punk from being a fan favorite to the megastar on WWE.
Yeah.
Was once he embraced his real chip on his shoulder bitterness towards Vince McMahon and the WWE and the way he'd been treated, all of a sudden he was real.
Yes. Yeah. And that's it. That is it. Yeah. Because it's real. You are invested in it. It makes you question yourself because you agree with it. Why do I agree with the bad guy? Does that mean that I'm a bad guy? No, actually, him. He's the bad guy. I'm going to boo him.
Yeah.
That's what it does.
While we're talking about current heels or even new heels, what's your opinion on Naomi?
Ooh.
The new heel Naomi.
Two minds.
Okay.
I love her character.
Yep.
And in wrestling terms, she's a nice guy. Because I don't think that she can wrestle well.
I agree with that. I think she is an okay wrestler. She's a fine wrestler.
I think she's a great brawler.
Yep.
But definitely not clutch like punches.
But look, is WWE a place where you go to for amazing pro wrestling, or is it a place you go to for great sports entertainment?
And then that's the thing too. I think that Naomi's presentation is awesome.
Yeah.
I think that Naomi has got it. I just don't know if she fires more shots that she hits than she misses.
I think it's fascinating when you think about this as well. Is she was once a funkadactyl.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Like,
has there been growth in Naomi?
The growth in the character, 1,000,000%. The growth in the wrestler too, 1,000,000%. Heel Naomi works because, again, she's right.
Yeah.
She's justified because she's correct.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. As a character, it's awesome. I don't care about Storm. I don't care about the X-Men when it comes to my wrestling. Jade Cargill is unequivocally worse at wrestling. But that's the reason that the match wasn't so great, I think.
Yeah.
And it's because you have a general in the ring who is awesome at generaling the match.
Yeah.
But you need to have a workhorse in there too.
Yeah.
And I just don't see, I think, and again, no disrespect whatsoever because, you know, she's in the company. I'm not in the company. She's been in multiple places. Yeah. But I feel like the shots that she takes, she misses more than she hits, unfortunately, because I would love to say she's the best they have, the best women's wrestler they have.
But look, the thing is, one of the best women's wrestlers they have didn't he wrestle during WrestleMania weekend, but didn't wrestle for WWE.
And another one of the best wrestlers they have got a 1.75 star match. Not that we care what Meltzer thinks. It's Charlotte. Like, for all the things that you say about Charlotte and all the stuff that we don't like about her, she can wrestle.
Oh, she can.
She can wrestle. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that because that was the shittest match of the night, the whole weekend.
But in saying that, do you agree with Meltzer's 5 stars on the 3-way with Rhea?
Yeah. I don't care what Meltzer thinks. I think that was a great match.
Yeah.
Like let's be fair. I don't care what the rating was. I did hear of it, obviously, but that was a great match.
Oh,
that was a great match.
It was an amazing, perfect way to start night 2.
And very unpredictable. Like, we did predict the correct answer, all of us, I'm pretty sure, but it was still unpredictable.
The whole way through.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I want to do as a fan. As a fan, I want to doubt myself.
Exactly right. So again, totally different thing. And I would almost, no, you know what? Yeah, I'll say it. Just because I feel like I was mean, unfortunately mean, I think the Naomi match is better than the Stratton-Charlotte match.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Agreed. 100% agreed.
So that tells you something, right? Yeah. The person who I said was a far superior wrestler had a worse match by far.
But here's the thing, and this is strong opinion here.
Go on, do it.
I think she is a superior wrestler, but I think she is also the most unprofessional person on that women's roster. And when you're working a match, and I'm not even a wrestler, right? This is my opinion as a mark, is when you are the tenured wrestler in that ring, you're the person who should be guiding this match. When you're in the ring with a rookie, and that's what Stratton is. Stratton is a rookie. You should be looking after her, not throwing potatoes and rocking her shit at the start of the match.
Yeah, not getting mad. Jeepers, that was rough.
Yeah, like I genuinely think, and this is after having thought about it for a while afterwards, at first I was like, and I think I commented to you live during the show, was I thought at first that Flair was doing a pretty good job of correcting Stratton's mistakes that she was making. But in hindsight, I think the issue with that match was Charlotte rocked Tiffany at the start of that match so much that Tiffy just kept making cock-ups throughout the rest of the match.
Didn't recover because of it.
Tiffy make that many cock-ups in a match before.
Yeah. No.
I don't think it was nerves as such, because she's been in full stadiums. I think it was genuinely that she had that many potatoes thrown at her at the start of that match, because she was a mess at the end of that match.
Yeah. No, absolutely a mess.
Yeah.
And the Irish girls wrestled on the other night, and the potatoes should have been there.
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Well done.
I had to. It's okay. Don't worry. It's fine. But yeah, when it comes to...
I was going to say, as a person of Irish descent, just wait until I get a chance to start giving you shit about Santino.
Hey, leave Santino alone. I love Santino. I can't wait. We are skipping out on the best women's wrestler of all time when we don't mention Santina Morella's sister. So maybe you could just leave Santina alone. If you attack Santino, that's one thing, but leave Santina alone.
Genuine Italian Santino.
Beautiful. Definitely from, what the thing is that he spoke Italian when they first picked him up. Like, they're like, what's your name? And he's like, Mi chiamo Santino. He knew enough that he could pass for it. So, it wasn't as bad as everyone always says. But, and, John Cena and all of this stuff. Man, I would love to see a John Cena interaction before he goes.
Oh, 100%. While we're talking about John Cena interactions.
Yes, because I want to talk about this too. I know exactly what you're going to talk about.
Yeah. So we finally got the interaction between R-Truth and
his childhood hero, John Cena.
Yeah. I think they are setting us up for devastation.
The beatdown of the century.
Yeah, I think they're setting us up for an absolutely devastating moment. I think eventually, if I think we're going to see for a couple of months, R-Truth have these little interactions with his childhood hero who he wants to be just like when he grows up. And eventually Cena's going to lose his shit with him and he is just going to demolish Truth.
I have a theory. My theory is stakes.
Yeah.
My theory is they're going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth over the course of the next few months. Cena will eventually give him a match. R-Truth will almost win.
You reckon?
And then he'll lose.
Yeah.
And then he'll take his boots off. I reckon Cena will retire R-Truth.
Oh.
Because he's getting up there in age.
He is getting up there.
And what better way to end the story? Because he's never getting a WrestleMania like main event. But that's the biggest thing you could possibly give him.
Oh, absolutely.
That's my theory. I'll see if we're right. Come back to this video later and see if we're right.
Hey, we were talking about the ladies earlier. I want to go back, just swing back very quickly. Did you see Natty at
Bloodsport?
Bloodsport?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I want that version of Natty on WWE because she felt
Where's she been? Yeah.
She felt like a killer.
Where's that
Coming out
Natty?
to Rage Against the Machine with it was the Bret Hart lick at the start going into Rage Against the Machine. I was like, what is going on here? Where has this Natty been for the last
Coming out
years?
to that divorced dad rock and like looking awesome.
Yeah.
Really, really just that's the presentation I want for Natalya Neidhart.
Yeah.
Like that's what I want. And that's what we deserve. So I think that when it comes to Natty has all the tools to be successful.
Yeah.
I think that Natty went through something that we don't really discuss much, and that is a super, super traumatic situation with Tyson.
Yeah.
Like to the point where I can see a lot of the reason why she's not gone further is because she has stuff to do at home, stuff that's more important, you know, being a family, having the cats, all the deal, you know, like, and there's a big part of me that says WWE would have pushed Natty if it wasn't for that. So really, Samoa Joe, it's your fault, right? Because wasn't it the Muscle Buster?
It was the Muscle Buster.
There you go.
You actually talked about that on the CVV podcast this week.
Yes, yeah. No, that's the thing. Is I'm obviously joking there, and it's a horrible thing to joke about. As someone who's had a broken neck, it's a terrible thing to joke about. But I would not be surprised if the reason that Natty has never gone the furthest that she could go is because of that.
Yeah. She's absolutely a first ballot Hall of Famer when she retires.
110 million billion %.
She's the last of her generation too.
Yeah. So it could easily happen now, and I wouldn't have a problem with it.
She is essentially the Cena of the women's division.
Yeah. Like honestly, really.
Yeah.
So look, it is what it is. I like the Bloodsport thing. I like the fact that they're willing to let them go across and do that too.
Especially with AEW stars on that same card.
Yeah.
Like Bloodsport has become the real Forbidden Door.
Yeah. Which is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Cross as well on that show. Like just a monster and looking like a monster too.
Yeah.
That's the presentation I want. Not necessarily in a gi, but I want that presentation from Cross.
Yeah,
I want him to come across as a murderer. I'm going to murderize everyone.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is what it is. But at the same time, I think that these are the way that we are presented with these offshoot shows, even NXT, TNA, you know, at Bloodsport. I think we're really starting to get a real good sense of what people can do.
Yeah.
We've only got a really limited spots at the top, though, and we've already spoken about a handful of people that should be at the top right now, coming up that aren't yet.
But this is genuinely why I love the fact that WWE now is expanding beyond WWE.
Yes,
like
it's so good.
We've got NXT, we've got TNA, and now we've also got AAA, right? So it's actually giving a lot of these people that may not be getting time on the card, on the main roster, somewhere worthy of going that is not the AEW guys go over and do indies in the weekend, right?
Yeah. No, it's like a legitimate, real and true place to go to hone what you can do.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important.
And WWE is now essentially starting their own, what's the old school term they used to use in the US? The regionals.
Oh, the territories.
Yeah, they're starting their own territory system.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I'm all for it. But hey, really, I think that right now we've kind of covered everything. I don't necessarily need to talk about much else when it comes to Raw this week or SmackDown. I'm looking forward to seeing what we see this week on SmackDown because I really hope it's going to be some Karrion Kross. I really, really do. I want to see Miro maybe do something, else. Yep. I'm genuinely interested to see where we go with a lot of this stuff. Will we see Punk this week? Will we see Cody this week? What's going to happen? Where are we at? Where's Roman? When do we fill out the rest of Evolution? And who fills out Evolution from here? Also, before we move on to the end, I think there's going to be 4. Yeah. Before we move on to the end, I want to speak about something that we spoke about before we started the podcast with the people over on TikTok. So for those who watch these live, they get a little bit extra at the start and a little bit extra at the end. So if you're on Spotify or YouTube, just keep that in mind. Check our socials for when we go live. But what we spoke about earlier was I do not give a single solitary about Sami Zayn getting beaten down this week. And the reason why I don't care is you have presented him as a little bitch. Like you have presented him as a bitch all the time. He comes in, he gets beat down, he gets sad about it, and then he goes away, and then he comes back, and he'll haluva kick someone, and then maybe he wins the feud. And then he goes back, and he gets beat down again. I have no investment in Sami Zayn. You have taken away that because he doesn't win big matches. And if he does, he loses straight away.
The underdog character only works if you do it sparingly.
And if there is a payoff.
Yeah.
The payoff isn't like a 24-hour thing, It's not like yes, it worked with Foley, and I honestly think that Sami Zayn they're gearing him to be this generation's Mick Foley in the way that they present him, not with the crazy bullshit, but with the heart and the soul, the Daniel Bryan gimmick. All of that really fits into Sami Zayn. The problem is that both of them won the big feud.
Yes. When
it comes down to it, Sami is a loser. Sami's a loser in the eyes of the fans. Even
when Sami had the success over Roman, it was a losing effort that got him there.
That's the thing. There's no positive investment for him. There's nothing that says to me he earned that. Everything says it was someone else who helped, or it was someone else who caused it, or, the bloodline stuff happened and it was really because he did kind of the wrong thing. You know what I mean? Like there's not really been a situation where he has justifiably won something aside from the KO feud. But really, even that was him becoming a heel to get the win. Doing scumbaggery to get the win because he was like, hey, if you can do it, I can do it too. So I don't believe in him. So why do I care if Seth Rollins, straight after taking back shots from Bron Breakker, gives him the punt, the stomp? Why do I care? The curb stomp. Because honestly, Bron speared him 30 times and then Seth boots him. And it's supposed to be this big, impactful moment, but I just don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Also not to mention what KO did to him as well.
Yeah, that's it too. And yes, I will say the KO thing, it just happened. Yeah. It just happened. And full stalker mode and all of that stuff. He did win the big one against Gunther. But how long did that last?
Yeah.
Like, how long did that last? And did it really give you, was there any equity from it? Was there any residual effort? Do you even really remember that it happened? You know, at this point,
that belt was hot potatoed so fast.
that's the
often.
problem. Exactly the shit I was saying before, because it was hot potatoed so quickly that reign just became another one as a candle in the wind. You know, like it's just an additional thing that happened, but it should have been the single most important moment that we've had. And what should have happened is when Gunther was gonna lose or win or whatever it might be, Sammy should have been there right in his face. I know they did it a little bit, but Sammy, it should have been within a ball hair of Sammy winning.
Yeah.
And it should have only, you know what it should have been Randy Orton slapped to the face of the referee. He shouldn't have been able to beat Sammy without that. But he did, because Sammy's a bitch. like as a character, he is. And that's the problem.
I absolutely agree. But the thing is, I think they've got an opportunity now to turn this around for Sammy, but they have to do it now.
Like, legitimately, that has to happen now. Yeah. He needs to be at the front of this thing.
Yeah.
But he won't be, because you've got Punk, you've got Roman, you've got these bigger people involved in it.
Oh, okay. We said at the start of this, we only really acknowledge chat when they say something good. We've got something good. A Forgotten Donut has suggested, what if Sammy's mentor was to return? Oh. El Grande Americano versus El Generico.
Hey. All right. Yeah, look, this is, you let him cook. But unfortunately, the problem with that is sadly, El Generico did pass away.
But we only have KO's word on that.
We did never find a body. That's true.
Yeah, we only have KO's word on that. And KO has proven, if anything, he's an unreliable narrator.
That's true. And honestly, look, we know Kevin Steen died, but we never found a body when it comes to El Generico. That being said, I would love to see all of those feuds come back in a way. I'd love to see Gunther get involved with Chad Gable and with Sami Zayn, because to me, that's the lane. I could see Gunther win the belt back.
Yeah.
And the only real time that I could see Sami Zayn win the big one would be if he beat Gunther next time round.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe who in their right fucking mind anywhere thinks that Sami Zayn can beat Randy fucking Orton or John fucking Cena. Anyone?
Chat?
No one. Because it's bullshit, crazy idea.
Yeah.
Like, you are talking madness. This is the worst kind of brain rot. It's wrestling brain rot. There's no way. There will be no Sigma. There will be no aura farming. There will be no toilets that are skibbity. It's not going to fucking happen. And I didn't censor that one because I'm serious about it. It's not going to happen.
Also, can you tell which one of the two of us work at a school?
Just jealous of my Riz, bro. It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's fine. The facts of the matter is that he's dead in the water right now.
Yeah.
I don't care that he got beat up by Seth. I don't.
Yeah.
And that's your fault. That's the booking's fault.
Yeah.
Because really, that run with the bloodline, that run with Roman in general, but that bloodline run, the Gunther run, those things should have put him in the stratosphere. Should have. But they didn't, because you didn't capitalize on it.
Yeah. And
look, he plays big numbers overseas. Like whenever they do the Saudi shows, he's an important part of that. You know?
And we have two of those coming up this year, so
there's a lot of positive there. But for whatever reason, I just don't care.
Yeah.
I just don't care. And that was my rant for the day. I'm sorry.
And I think on that bombshell, I think that might be us for this week.
I think so too. I do.
What I will say before we wind up the podcast is every week after we do this show, we stick around live on Twitch and on TikTok and have a bit of a chat with those people who have been watching. So if you're sitting in chat, stick around. We'll have a back and forth with you guys. If you're listening or watching this on YouTube after the fact, that's what you're missing out on.
Oh, so much of this. In fact, exactly what I'm doing right now, you're missing that. You're missing this right now. Oh, it's so good too. Oh, it's incredible. But hey, you know what you should do though? Before we end, you know who needs it right now? Think about the legend that is El Grande Americano, right? Sacrifices at Wrestlemania were made. That reverse 450, there was so much. What you should do is you should go to WWE Shop. You should go to the link in the description. You should go to the WWE Shop and you should go get yourself that shirt, that brand new banger El Grande Americano shirt. Support a local luchador. Do it today.
A legend.
A legend.
Yeah.
An absolute icon.
Look, and there's no coincidence that after El Grande Americano comes to WWE, WWE also acquires AAA because AAA knows you've got the best luchador in the world.
Well, honestly, the thing here...
The two best luchadors in the world. You've got El Grande Americano and Dom Mysterio.
Well, that's very true. The thing you have to understand too is that now, for you guys, we get possibly to Netflix soon, we're going to get the AAA library, and that means all of El Grande Americano's classic matches will be available.
You're going to want to be watching that with a T-shirt on, with the mask on.
Absolutely. So what you should do is go to the link in the description, support your boys, get yourself an El Grande Americano shirt, and hey, chuck your favorite podcast on. It's probably us. If it's not, I don't want to hear about it. Chuck your favorite podcast on and just reflect on what El Grande Americano means to you. Thank you so much for supporting this show. I almost died. Why? Thank you so much for supporting this show, what we do, and wrestling in general. And hey, Phid, how do you feel about this week?
I feel okay about this week.
Something's missing, though. I think it's BETSON. Have you guys been enjoying BETSON no longer being a substitute? Have you enjoyed BETSON being an integral part? Let us know in the comments because, you know, we didn't ask you. When your dads decided to bring another dad in, we never spoke to you about it, Skipper.
No, it was just put a forced upon you.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is you know, it's very important to us that you're comfortable, that you're happy, and that you don't feel like we're neglecting you. Because really, I'll read you a bedtime story later. It's okay. Phid will play a bit of softball with you. You know, if that's what you need to feel comfortable.
Come on, champ.
That's it. We'll go out there. Your dad's, we got your back. It's okay if there's another one. You know what I mean? And I think over time,
doesn't mean that we love you less.
No, it just means we've got room to love you more. And that's really important. So let us know how that's going in the comments below. And for me, the Warship, for Phid McAwesome, thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next week. And as always, we'll see you down under the ring.